Come to Providence Place, owned by the Sisters of Providence for retirees looking for an ideal rental setting to continue their active, independent lifestyles. We offer bright 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, a magnificent chapel with daily mass, restaurant-style dining, wellness and entertainment programs, all with a friendly community spirit on beautiful grounds. Call for a tour, 413-534-9700.
Coming up on this edition of Reel to Reel.
I'm Rebecca Drake. I'll show you how some local women are helping themselves to rise up and out of poverty through worker-owned cooperative businesses that receive grants from the Catholic Campaign for Human Development.
A newly ordained priest comes home to Springfield to celebrate Mass. I'm Carolee McGrath. I'll have the story.
And Dan Dumas has the latest from the Diocese of Springfield. These stories and more are just ahead on this edition of Reel to Reel. Hello and welcome to Reel on this weekend before Thanksgiving. Parishes throughout the country are holding the annual collection for the U.S. Bishops' Catholic Campaign for Human Development. As the bishops work to address the root causes of poverty, a nonprofit organization right here in the Diocese of Springfield is a recipient of a CCHD grant. Rebecca Drake has the story of the Old Window Workshop, a worker-owned cooperative business located in Springfield's South End.
While most people looking up at this building in downtown Springfield see some old-fashioned wooden windows, Pam Howland saw something else.
I had been developing affordable housing for low-income families for years through the community development corporations in Western Mass. And I learned that women who are involved with building their own homes make great changes in their lives when they learn a trade.
Her experience in home building inspired the creation of the Old Window Workshop, a worker-owned business developed by Wellspring Cooperative, one of several local agencies that recently received a grant from the U.S. Bishops' Catholic Campaign for Human Development. Located in the south end of Springfield, the Old Window Workshop restores wooden windows for local businesses and organizations.
I don't want to waste anything. I don't want to waste people's lives, and I don't want to waste materials. And if we have a chance to involve folks, especially women in low-income communities, in preserving what the environment is that they're surrounded by, they can develop skills that will also help them economically.
Nanette Bowie, who has a college background in architecture and experience in home remodeling, is one of the worker owners of Old Window Workshop. As production manager, she wants women to be valued for both their domestic responsibilities and their occupational skills. And she sees the results.
The confidence alone, knowing that you can take care of your child and come back to work and not be chastised for being a mom, it's incredible. And knowing that we're a learning environment and we're not so critical to each other, it allows growth. And everybody enjoys what they do here.
While most jobs available to low-income women are in the service sector, healthcare, or childcare, the Old Window Workshop provides a new opportunity and a new model for young women in the Springfield area.
Women are participating in saving the planet through reusing building materials, and specifically windows in our case, but they're also sustaining their own neighborhoods. And wherever women are working and contributing in that way, neighborhoods are safer. Kids stay in school. Everything changes.
These changes, which strengthen individuals, families, and communities, demonstrate the mission of the Bishop's Campaign for Human Development, to empower low-income workers to participate in decisions that affect their lives.
The goal of these kind of cooperative businesses is to provide jobs for folks that are unemployed, underemployed, or hard to employ. And we're particularly focused on communities in Springfield that are low-income, communities of color, immigrant communities, all of which struggle with high levels of poverty and unemployment.
And while they are changing their own lives, the worker owners of the Old Window Workshop are helping to change the overall economic framework of the region.
This framework is called the Solidarity Economy, and it's growing fast in the United States and all throughout the world. So coming from that big framework of that we really need to change the whole economic system to one that values cooperation and equity and sustainability and participatory democracy.
The small workshop in the South End also embraces the diversity of the neighborhood.
The important thing is working together, all women of different backgrounds, we can come together and learn the skills together without worrying about being criticized for our level of skill.
And as downtown residents and visitors pass by newly restored windows on historical buildings, Pam Howland hopes that they will come to share her view of the city.
When you buy a new window, that money leaves town. It goes away. It leaves the community. But when you pay people in your own community to restore things in your own community, all the money stays in town. And I always have come to look at windows as food on a table of a family right next door. And that there's no excuse why we can't look at all of our building materials that way.
From the frameworks of the past, a new vision of the future for local women and their families. For Real to Real, I'm Rebecca Drake.
Best wishes to the workers of the Old Window Workshop and all those who persevere in the efforts to build a better life for themselves and their families. This weekend, a special collection will be taken up for the Campaign for Human Development. Last year, parishioners in Western Massachusetts donated more than $35,000. To find out more about the Catholic Campaign for Human Development and the Old Window Workshop, you can log on to iobserve.org. And still to come on Real to Real, Dan Dumas has the latest from the Diocese of Springfield, and Mark Giza has the latest from Hollywood, including a family Christmas movie. These stories and more are still to come on Real to Real.
When Jesus is my portion.
The Chalice of Salvation, your weekly spiritual connection. I'm Passionist Brother Terrence Scanlon, your Chalice host, inviting you to take time out of your busy days and join us Sunday morning at 10. We welcome Father Warren Savage as our Mass presider and celebrate the 33rd Sunday in Ordinary Time. The Chalice of Salvation, your spiritual connection, Sunday morning at 10, right here on TV 22 News.
Come to Providence Place, owned by the Sisters of Providence for retirees looking for an ideal rental setting to continue their active, independent lifestyles. We offer bright 1- and 2-bedroom apartments, a magnificent chapel with daily mass, restaurant-style dining, wellness and entertainment programs, all with a friendly community spirit on beautiful grounds. Call for a tour, 413-534-9700.
Each year, on the 4th Thursday of November, we gather as a nation with our families and our friends around the table to thank God for the bountiful harvest that we have. We continue in a fine tradition going back to the Pilgrim's days here in our Massachusetts area. As we thank God for all that God has given to us, let us also remember that from our bounty we share with those who have not enough. On this Thanksgiving Day, I ask God's blessing upon you. As you gather with your families and friends today at table, may we all remember the goodness of our God that He showers down upon us, and may we never fail to give thanks for the many gifts we receive not only on Thanksgiving Day, but each day of our lives.
I'm Dan Dumas with your Real to Real News Briefs. Springfield Bishop Mitchell Rosansky joined bishops from across the U.S. this past week for their annual fall meetings in Baltimore. The gathering coincided with the 10th anniversary of the United States Catholic Conference, originally founded as the Catholic War Council. Over the years, the conference has helped the nation's bishops speak and act with one voice. Topics at this week's meetings included our nation's immigration policy, the growing racial tensions, as well as authorizing a pastoral plan for marriages and families. You can read more about this week's discussions, as well as view a video on the conference's 100th anniversary at iobserve.org. In other news, earlier this fall, the next class of deacons marked another important step in their journey. John Thornton reports.
Surrounded by family and friends, 6 men gathered at St. Michael's Cathedral in Springfield for the rite of admission to candidacy for holy orders. Springfield Bishop Mitchell T. Rosansky was the principal celebrant for this special Mass. John Miller, the former principal of Cathedral High School in Springfield, is one of the candidates.
Well, it's a first step in one sense because it's a formal step toward moving toward the ordination of deacon. In another sense, it's a culmination of a number of years, or 2 years of study, but more than that, a number of years of reflection and prayerful decision-making as to whether or not I want to go in this direction.
When it was time for the rite of admission, the candidates gathered in front of the altar. After Bishop Rosansky called their names, he said, "The Church accepts your resolve with joy. May God, who has begun the good work in you, bring it to fulfillment." Bishop Rosansky then personally congratulated each of the men. Robert O'Connor, another of the candidates, explained what drew him to the vocation of deacon.
It was an experience of God, an experience of something that I wasn't able to put into the normal idea of what you would experience with your senses. It was a sense of something bigger, something greater.
The men will continue in their formation with an anticipated ordination of May 2019. From Springfield, I'm John Thornton.
St. Michael's Academy hosted its first signature event, one to honor its heritage and to celebrate its present students. Reporter Julie Bollier attended and has our story.
St. Michael's Academy began in September 2009 when the Springfield parishes of Our Lady of the Sacred Heart, Our Lady of Mount Carmel, Holy Cross, Holy Name, and Our Lady of Hope merged their elementary schools into one. Past alumni were honored to have the history of their elementary schools remembered. Tables bordering the gym wall displayed memorabilia from those schools and others dating back to 1900. Madeline Flanagan attended Cathedral Grammar School in the 1940s and recalls her first day of school when she was 6 years old and taught by the Sisters of St. Joseph.
She was a wonderful, wonderful nun, and she had a big white collar in front of her, and I thought, oh my goodness. And when my mom picked me up, I said, you know what? They don't have any feet. And my mother said, what are you talking about? And I said, well, I didn't see any shoes or any feet. The skirt, black skirt, went all the way to the floor. She used to like to play Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Wolf. I think she was entertaining our whole classroom, and we'd be going around and around her singing, you know, Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Wolf? Well, at the end of the song, you can guess by now, with her cape, who she reached out and enveloped me in that cape.
Along with remembering the past, there was an opportunity for folks to invest in the future of Catholic education.
We also have a wine wall and a craft beer wall, and you can purchase a raffle ticket for $25. And we will also have Raise the Paddle after dinner. There will be an opportunity for people to pledge, make a donation to St. Michael's Academy by raising their paddle for a specific amount.
8th grade students Morgan Collins and Joelle Ramos volunteered to serve as wait staff and spotters for the event.
This is like a big family where whatever they donate will help us get closer and excel more.
What I like about the school is about the education. They really treat you well. They teach you everything you need to know for high school. And I've been feeling protected here. I would recommend this school to anyone else.
This event was a huge success. Nearly $30,000 was raised to ensure the future of Catholic education in the Diocese of Springfield. This is Julie Beaulieu reporting in Springfield.
Finally, we send our best wishes to our diocesan delegation attending the National Catholic Youth Conference in Indianapolis. Bishop Mitch is with them, and you can follow their activities through our Facebook page at Catholic Communications. And remember, you can always stay informed on all the latest news in the Catholic Church locally and beyond by logging on to iobserve.org. There you can read articles written by our Catholic Communications staff, as well as view archived episodes of Real to Real. That's iobserve.org. I'm Dan Dumas, and those were your Real to Real news briefs.
Director Kenneth Branagh takes us on a bumpy ride on the Orient Express, a fantastic family movie for the holidays, and the Majestic Theater in West Springfield presents Crimes of the Heart. Let's take a look at this week's Real Culture. Now playing at the Majestic Theater is Beth Henley's great and touching play, Crimes of the Heart. The story follows the McGrath sisters as they come together and try to help each other out and regain the love they felt many years ago, and also to help their young sister Babe get through a real mess. The play is directed by Kate Damon and has some real touching moments, and we feel for these ladies as they go through the trials of each day. Now the pace at times is a little slow, but that's being picky. Crimes of the Heart has great actors and a fine and perfect set by Greg Trokill. The play is there till December the 10th.
My name is Hercule Poirot, and I am probably the greatest detective in the world.
In 1974, director Sidney Lumet gave us a great murder mystery film called Murder on the Orient Express. Now, the very talented actor and director Kenneth Branagh gives us his version. And to tell you the truth, give me that 1974 version anytime. The story follows a group of people traveling on the Orient Express, who all have one thing in common. What, you may ask? Well, that would give too much of the plot away, and the film would become boring. This new version lacks the tension the original did. Yes, it has great stars, Dame Judi Dench, Willem Dafoe, and even the dazzling Michelle Pfeiffer, but it's all too choppy. The story is hard to follow, where in 1974, Lumet kept the suspects a true mystery, and their stories a secret till the end. The new version is boring, but of course, that's my take. You may think otherwise.
Well, hello.
Eyes linger any longer, I'll have to charge rent.
I'll pay.
Have another drink.
And finally, a great family film that has color, fun, and most of all, a true message of love. It's called The Star, the story of a donkey who tries to find his meaning in life, and really does not get it till he becomes a part of the very first Christmas. Along the way, on his journey through life, he meets a sheep named Ruth and a dove named Dave, who add the true comedy and fun to this film. Yes, it may seem too early to think about Christmas, but with this little delight of a film, we cannot wait for this special day. So if you're looking for a family film to draw you all much closer, see a film filled with color and great characters, and most of all, the true message of our Savior's birth, go, because we need this film now more than ever.
You're in danger. You need to listen to what I'm about to say extremely carefully.
Do you want a belly rub?
And you can see my reviews, as well as read other movie reviews provided by the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops online at iobserve.org. That's iobserve.org. And it is movie season, and we'll be taking you to all the top films opening in the next few weeks. Also, it is the Christmas holiday season, and there are two fantastic productions of A Christmas Carol coming to our area, the Hartford Stage and the Berkshire Theater Group in Pittsfield, Massachusetts. I'm Mark Giza. Have a fabulous weekend.
You are watching Reel to Reel, your window on the world around you. Here again is your Reel to Reel host, Sharon Rulier.
The Catholic Church in the United States celebrates National Vocations Awareness Week each November. This annual event is a special time for parishes in the United States to actively foster and pray for a culture of vocations to the priesthood, diaconate, and consecrated life. Joining me now is Father Matt Alcombright, co-director of the Office of Vocations for the Diocese of Springfield, to tell us more about this celebration and also about an upcoming event that will benefit the vocations ministry in the diocese. Father Matt, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Sharon. My pleasure.
So earlier this month, we marked this opportunity to create awareness of vocations, and tell us about it.
So it's a week set aside by the church to remind us that we should always be praying for vocations, to always be praying for more men and women to respond to the call of service in God's church. And particularly here in Springfield, that weekend of the 4th and 5th of November, many of our seminarians will be returning home to their home parishes or parishes throughout the diocese to just speak about what their life is like and how they've responded to God's call. And it's just a reminder again to us that every day we should be praying for an increase in vocations.
So also we have a singing priest concert coming up, and this is always an exciting and popular event.
Yes, it certainly is. It's going to be happening in Pittsfield this year at the Barrington Stage on Sunday, December 3rd at 2 p.m. And the proceeds for that event will go to support youth initiatives and youth ministry in Berkshire County.
All right, Father Matthew Alcombright, thanks so much for being with us today, and we definitely are looking forward to the concert.
Thank you, Sharon.
And if you would like more information on the Singing Priest concert, we have a link at iobserve.org. At St. Paul the Apostle Parish in Springfield, the Vietnamese Community Youth Group is on fire and frankly is huge with dozens of kids involved. One of the founders of the group has now become a priest. Salesian Father Paul Chu celebrated his first Mass, a Mass of Thanksgiving, back in the summer in the very parish where he grew up. Carolee McGrath brings us the story now of the new priest who is inspiring many young people to put their trust in Jesus.
On a recent summer Sunday, parishioners gathered at St. Paul the Apostle Parish in Springfield for Mass, giving thanks to God for a priest who is also one of their own.
Let us welcome Father Paul and all the priests here together by applause.
Newly ordained Salesian Father Paul Chu celebrated his first Mass in the church he grew up in. The 34-year-old entered the International Religious Order of the Salesians of Don Bosco in Orange, New Jersey in August of 2007. After 10 years in priestly formation, Father Chu was ordained on Saturday, June 24th at Our Lady of Perpetual Help Parish in Pelham, New York.
We also, in this Mass, we remember the examples of these three holy men, Elisha, Peter, and Paul, who left their parents, left their family, but they never left God. They never left Jesus. They left their family so they could follow Jesus. But as they leave their family, they are experiencing a new family that they could call each and every one of the people they meet brothers and sisters, because we all have one Father, one loving Father in heaven.
Father Chu came from Vietnam as a refugee with his family in 1992 when he was 9 years old. He grew up attending Holy Name Parish in Springfield before moving to St. Paul the Apostle Parish on Dwight Street, a multicultural church which serves the Vietnamese Catholic community in the diocese. Father Chu attended Sci Tech in Springfield and UMass in Amherst, where he double majored in computer science and mathematics. After graduating from college, he traveled back to Vietnam with his family. It was a trip that changed his life.
I came back to Vietnam to think it was like start a business, to something like that, outsourcing, like some of my friends, but then God had other plans for me.
Father Chu met a Salesian priest at his parents' home parish in central Vietnam.
When he was preaching to groups of kids, just like these kids, I was very struck with the love and the caring, the joy of his voice, his demeanor. And I told myself, if I was going to become a priest, I'll be this kind of priest.
Father Chu says despite the hardships they faced as refugees, his father kept the family close to Christ.
He had a strong devotion to Mary. He was one of these prisoners of war, after the Vietnam War. He shared with me that he was locked in solitary confinement for months, by the communist regime. But it was his faith, praying the rosary. He even told me he had a vision of Mary. So his strong Marian devotion kept him sane, and he imparted that devotion in our family.
Father Chu's mother, son Pham, was overjoyed.
I can't say thank God enough, and I feel I'm not worthy to be a mother of a priest.
Back in the year 2000, when Father Paul was 17, he was one of the founding members of the youth group here at this parish. It's called the Vietnamese Eucharistic Youth Society. Today, there are 130 members, and they're on fire with a love for Jesus. There's no doubt that Father Chu is somewhat of a celebrity among the youth at his parish. Nana Lee says he's a great supporter of the youth group, which she says changed her life. You didn't grow up Catholic. Tell me about your story.
I didn't. I actually converted when I was around 14, 15. My friend introduced me to the youth group here, and I just simply fell in love and quickly converted. Got my first communion, confirmation, and whatnot, and I slowly started off as a companion, which is Nye Si, that's the yellow scarf, and then I moved up slowly, and now I'm a youth leader.
Both her brother and her mother followed her into the Catholic Church.
Most of these kids, I've seen them when they were just starting out, 6, 7 years old. So I've taught quite a few of them, and we just, our goal of the youth group is really the same goal as at my Salesian vocation, is to help youth to become good Christians and good citizens of society, and of heaven.
In the fall, Father Chu will be the coordinator of youth ministry at Don Bosco Prep School in Ramsey, New Jersey. He'll go knowing he has the prayers and support of his parish family back in Springfield. Reporting for Reel to Reel, I'm Caroline McGrath. Today there are more than 17,000 priests and brothers of the Salesians of Don Bosco who serve in more than 130 countries. And for this week, that's Reel to Reel. Thanks so much for joining us today. And just a note, as Father Matt told us, the popular singing priests of the Diocese of Springfield will return to the stage for an Advent and Christmas concert on Sunday, December 3rd at 2 p.m. at the Boyd Quinson Main Stage, 30 Union Street in Pittsfield. You can order tickets by phone at 413-236-8888. And we also have a link on iobserve.org with all of the ticket information. Also, for updates anytime, you can find information and news on the Catholic Church, both here in the Diocese of Springfield and around the world, on our news and information site, iobserve.org. And be sure to friend us on Facebook, where you will be able to travel with us and our reporters as they work on stories for Reel to Reel and get the latest news on the Catholic Church. Like us at Catholic Communications. I will be back at this same time next week for another edition of Reel to Reel, your window on the world around you. Until then, have a great Thanksgiving. See you then.
Reel to Reel is a production of the Catholic Communications Corporation, funded in part by the annual Catholic Appeal, and the support of you, our faithful viewers.